Hello and welcome. You're watching Don Bosco Media Network. This is Moralisa Rumbai, bringing to you the Salesian news across the globe. Eritrea, like all sub-Saharan African countries, is suffering the consequences of climate change in a pronounced manner, and in addition to water scarcity, is dramatically experienced the phenomenon of the desertification. The advance of the desert is aggravated by deforestation practices, unfortunately still widespread in many areas of the country. For these reasons, the Eritrean Ministry of Agriculture has established that 2 lakh hectares of territory must be dedicated to reforestation. The goal is not only to plant trees, but to help the soil regenerate, conserve water, preserve habitats for local fauna, and develop rules and criteria for proper management. The entire Eritrean population is called to participate in this initiative promoted by the local government, high school students, local communities, adults, and the elderly. Several local communities have started projects aimed at protecting the environment. Antonita Gallardo, Stante, and Manuel Abirzo made their promises as Salesian cooperators on the 16th of June at the Mary Help of Christians Center in Montreal, Quebec. The promises were accepted by Carolina Lagana, coordinator of the center, accompanied by the other members of the local council. The Eucharist was celebrated by Father Richard Othier, SDB local ASC delegate, and concelebrated by Father Luke Lantange, SDB. On 25th June, at the Battement du 30 Juin, the Los Angeles Choir at the Salamak School of Informatics of the Salesian of Don Bosco, Central Africa Province, AFC, produced an unprecedented performance in a concert organized to mark its 14th anniversary. The Los Angeles Choir managed to fill the famous Batiment du 30 Juin Hall, currently the Provincial Assembly headquarters for the province of Haut-Katanga, but designed and built for performances and theatre with more than 500 people. The choir, made up of young students, succeeded in taking its audience on a journey of emotions from melancholy to surprise and amazement, all in great sonorous harmony. Hymns of praise and adoration to the Lord, hymns to Saint John Bosco, typical traditional songs in various Congolese national languages, etc., were performed. The audience, mostly young students from other high schools, choirs from the parishes and oratories of Lumbubashi, and many other members of the Salesian family, enjoyed a cultural evening led by the young students. The event is therefore set for next year for a production that music lovers hope will be even more fascinating. About 10 years ago, the life of Indian Salesian David Tulimeli, 41-year-old Salesian originally from India, currently living in Old Heverlee, changed dramatically. At the time, he headed a refugee camp in South Sudan, working there as a parish priest and a headmaster in a secondary school. When he opened the gate of the community in Sunday evening, 15 December 2013, he could not believe his eyes. When I opened the door, suddenly there were 2,000 to 3,000 people in front of our gate, almost exclusively women and children, fleeing the war. That same evening, all hell had broken loose in the neighboring town. The war in South Sudan was intensifying and people were forced to flee. The town was about 5 kilometers from the Salesian community, Tuli says. Relatively difficult to reach, but then didn't deter them. When they stood out of the gate in their thousands, I knew I had to help them and provide shelter. A small decision with big consequences. In just a few days, the estate was transformed into a refugee camp for nearly 20,000 refugees. Father Tulimeli, better known as Tuli, came to be in charge. It was a hard time, he looks back. I doubted a lot, but always thought back to my own childhood. The St. Joseph Salesian Delegation Council, led by Father Gauthier Chibangu, met at the Don Bosco Ngangi Youth Center from 21st to 24th June with rectors of the Salesian communities belonging to it. There were 2 important moments during the session: evaluation of the 2022 to 23 pastoral year and planning for the 2023 to 24 pastoral year. The 11 Salesian participants shared their experiences and the pastoral challenges that occurred during the past pastoral year. Strengths and areas for improvement were mentioned. The rectors highlighted the fact that during this pastoral year, Salesians in the AFC East delegation had a year of rich pastoral experience and testimony of solid Christian life despite the many difficulties, including epidemics, wars, and natural disasters. The team has worked intensively to develop the program of pastoral activities for the coming year, which all participants hope will be bright and fruitful. Thus, in light of Article 21 of the Salesian Constitutions, Father Chibangu urged his confreres to have Don Bosco as their model. The session ended on Saturday morning, 24th June, with the Eucharist at the Don Bosco Ngangi Community Chapel. So viewers, that is all we have for you today. Until we meet again, thank you for watching.